What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. This week, we are back to analyze the Blaydes versus Daukaus card going down in Columbus, Ohio. First UFC fight night in America with a crowd in well over 2 years. It's going to be great to have the crowd back in an American audience, and I'm excited for this card. Really good fight card, a lot of solid fights, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Ozzy. How we doing this week? You
Y-
looking forward to this card this weekend?
Yo, what's good? Yeah, definitely for sure. I was actually going to go. A very good friend of mine who went to his wedding and all. He actually moved out to Columbus, or he's from Columbus. So I was actually gonna go over there. Didn't line up with the schedule. Okay card overall. I wish maybe some of the fights that were planned stayed together, but I kind of like it that they have relevant fights in the divisions, right? The main event, obviously, the Grasso-Wood fight, Askarov versus Kaikar France, and then also Dvorak versus Nicolau, which is only the second fight straight out the gate. So definitely looking forward to this one. And yeah, the fans in Columbus are definitely in for a treat. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, really solid fight card, looking top to bottom, like you mentioned. The second fight on the card is one I consider to be a really high level fight, and good fights sprinkled throughout the card. But before we get into that, of course, quick recap from last week. I lost 1.18 units on the London card. I believe our best bet lost as well, right? I think both of the legs lost. I
RLP
bet
Volkov.
goes the distance
Hmm.
and Allen and Hooker, and you picked Volkov. Obviously, we fucked up on Volkov. Should have waited until the end of round one or something. But what was your recap?
Yeah, so down just under 3.5 units here. Or I guess they came out real weird here because I had originally Marina parlayed with Gunnar Nelson's other fight, so that one got scrapped. So I don't know. It's like 3.5 units down more or less. But the least read call was a good one. I think that fight definitely went out as planned, and Corey McKenna's definitely her grappling was overrated. But I feel like I probably got a little too overconfident with my handicap of that Hooker fight. Although I've always been big on weight cuts affecting people, definitely didn't put as much weight into it. And then that Volkov pick, not the best. I thought that the fight could get extended. I did have like a small amount, like FanDuel or some of these sites let you get pennies on it. That Aspinall submission, I got like 13-1, but made only a slight dent in it. So down overall. Wish that I would have recommended that Aspinall sub 1 line instead of that Aspinall KO line, given Volkov's massive head and being hard to knock out. But yeah, little bad run here, going on bigger bets, but I'm not concerned. It's all about making the good bets overall, which the last few have not, but lot of calendar left and still up on the year. I think a little over 10 units or so, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having a bad year and you're still winning, double digit units throughout the first quarter, obviously that proves, just how good you are long term. But one thing before we get in here, I got to read this. This is a tweet from Luciano Betts, who I know you know on Twitter. But so if you bet 1 unit on every UFC favorite from minus 250 to minus 500 from 2013 to 2020, you'd only be up 11 units. So a 7 year period betting on those favorites in that range, you'd be up 11 units. But in the past year and 3 months, betting on those same favorites, you'd be up 23 units. So you've been hearing a lot about the juice era. We've been kind of joking around about it, but it is very real that the favorites in the UFC the past year and a half are just on an insane run. And obviously, if you guys listen to the podcast, Ozzy and I are more inclined to be betting those underdogs, but we got to change up the strategy a little bit. We got to start to really look at which favorites are good bets, which favorites have some value instead of being a little more partial to the underdog. So I mean, that stat blew my mind. Insane stuff. And with that being said, let's get into these fights. We got 13 really good fights. First one, featherweight division. Bruno Souza, the minus 127 favorite. Luis Saldana plus 107. A bit surprised at this line here. I'll start it off. I don't really think much of either of these guys. Saldana is a front runner. He starts well. He tends to gas out and lose as the fight goes on. He's not really a good grappler either. Souza, really weird style, like a karate counter punching style. I just feel like this Souza guy doesn't do a whole lot in there. He doesn't show aggression. He doesn't have very high volume, and I just see Luis Saldana as the fighter actually trying to land damage and show some aggression early on. And at plus money, I think he's definitely going to start round one here fast, and I think he's going to come out to an early lead. So you might as well get in on Saldana plus money. I think he's going to be a minus 150 favorite in the live lines. And if Saldana can keep it up over 2 rounds and win 2 rounds here, I think he's the better, more damaging striker. So I'll side with Saldana, keeping it pretty short. I don't really have much of a thorough read on this one, but I think Saldana plus money is a bit off. What are you thinking here, Ozzy?
Intriguing fight given that we got a line flip here. Uh, Earlier in the week, I'm familiar with Bruno Souza. He's an amazing weasel. He's like a definition of the Brazilian weasel. He's got that karate style from the Machida camp. But originally I was kind of maybe like leaning more towards him just because I've been very low on Saldana. But then I saw the line flip, and then looking a little bit more at the thing is Souza, the stuff that he does well, evading punches, moving around, going backwards, and just being awkward, I think kind of plays into helping Saldana, given that what we mentioned, like his cardio issues, sometimes that his shot selection at times. I think the leg kick will be easy for Saldana. He's very good with them, and he'll take them for free if he can. Reach advantage for him, training at MMA. What is it? Fight Ready? I think in Arizona. I saw him in the corner for Jonathan Pierce just last month in his fight against Christian Rodriguez, I believe, or in one of his fights. So he's still training hard. I faded him in his last fight against Lingo. Looked good there. Broke his foot in the first or second round, somewhere around there. It was kind of worrying to see him go down from a jab to the body. That's no good. But I think I'm leaning towards him. I'm intrigued though at the reason that people are that confident in Bruno. Like Bruno didn't even make weight last time. I mean, I know it was short notice against Melsick, but he didn't even make weight there. I think that potentially his offense is just not potent enough to stay with Saldana. So I'm gonna agree with you. Lean towards him at this dog price, and it's a coin flip kind of fight. I get the guy with a few more UFC fights, some good camp behind him, and looking to come off an L that maybe he thought he should have won given the first round of that fight. So I'll take Saldana here at plus money as well.
Yeah, wouldn't be too confident there, so tread lightly on that lower level fight. But next fight, second fight on the card, really high quality fight, as pretty much as good of a fight as you're going to get as the second fight on the card. Flyweight division, top 10 ranked flyweights. We got David Dvorak as the minus 125 favorite, Mateus Nicolau plus 105. Some action coming in on Nicolau throughout the week, and very closely lined fight. What are you thinking about this one?
Another fight that has almost flipped over. Dvorak, the favorite here, coming in. UFC win streak at what was it, three, 4 fights. Hasn't fought in about a year. Had a short notice replacement his last fight. He treated him accordingly and got him out in the first round. But I think this is gonna be a much more difficult fight. Nicolau, um, he's fought very good competition in the UFC, and also kind of has shown that he can be both tactical and kind of get aggressive too, if you will, like and especially in the previous UFC run. If you see his fight against Louis Smoka, just destroying him, that Manal Cape fight was very contentious, but he found a way to win. Same thing about that Tim Elliott fight. People didn't like what they were seeing in the first round, and then he was able to turn it around, use his wrestling, mix up the game. And I think here against Dvorak, for me, I was kind of like, I'm intrigued by him at the 125 division, but my issue is here against Nicolau is that his offense at times, like, I just don't think that he has that much power or throwing with that much intent. He's kind of looking to just like throw small shots out there. You saw in that Jordan Espinoza fight, he really invested in that calf kick, which I was looking forward to. I think I had heard something from his camp that he was looking to do that, and he cashed there as like a moderate favor. Or actually, it was close to even. I forgot that. And in the matchup here against Nicolau, I think that Nicolau actually has a little bit of the better hands. I think he's well versed in the kicks. I don't think that the calf kick is going to be big for Dvorak. And if these guys are grappling, I really like Nicolau over Dvorak if they do start grappling. Dvorak has some good instincts. He's not clueless on the mat, but I think the wrestling actually, or the initial wrestling, I think if there could be prolonged wrestling, maybe Dvorak could use some scrambling ability to move around Nicolau. But I think if Nicolau is initiating the takedowns and the wrestling and the grappling, I think he's going to be a step ahead. I think he's got more tools here. I like his. I think his cardio is fine here to go 3 as well. So the line's been coming in on him, and you know, we lost some of the plus money on him. But I like Nicolau here. You know, that submission line is a little bit low for me to get invested in it, but I can definitely see him popping on. What's in Dvorak's back. Actually, a 6-1 is not bad. Popping on his back, but I'm definitely gonna have Nicolau and Nicolau by decision. I think as one of my sides for this week.
Yeah, I'm leaning the other way here on Dvorak. I've been kind of going back and forth in this fight, and while I do agree with what you said about Nicolau being, I think the better boxer, definitely has the more pop behind his punches. I do also notice a little bit of absence of power from Dvorak's strike, but I think this is going to be a bit more about volume and output than it is going to be about power because this fight is pretty heavily favored to go the distance. I do agree with that. I don't think we're going to see a finish here, so I think it's going to really come down to who is, the more active striker. And I think that I trust Dvorak to be a little more aggressive, to throw out more strikes as the fight goes. And I think Dvorak's cardio might be a little bit better. I think he's a bit more comfortable going the full 15 minutes at a high pace, while Nicolau tends to have like, 10 minutes of like a good pace and then 5 minutes of a bit of a questionable pace in his fights. And in terms of the grappling here, I do think that Nicolau is the better overall grappler, much more likely to initiate the offensive grappling. But I've liked what I've seen from Dvorak so far in terms of his takedown defense, his ability to get off his back. We saw that in the Bruno Silva fight, showcased a little bit. Um, and I think that we're not going to see much prolonged grappling exchanges here. I think that Nicolau could get some brief takedowns here on Dvorak, but I don't think we're going to see Dvorak get controlled for more than a minute, 90 seconds, or I think he's going to work his way back up to the feet. And I think we're going to see a 29-28 on either side here. So I think it's a hard fight to be confident in. You got two really skilled fighters in all areas of MMA here, and I'm just really looking forward to this fight. I might not even bet this one just because I think it's going to be a really even, high level, closely matched decision here, but I'm leaning towards Dvorak. But I understand where those Nicolau betters are coming from. This is definitely Dvorak's toughest test to his career, and I'm not really sure he deserves to be the favorite. So the Nicolau plus money bets are probably the right side to be on, but I'll still pick Dvorak to edge this decision. And that's going to take us to our first women's fight on the card. In the flyweight division, we have Manon-Fiorot taking on Jennifer Maia. Fiorot minus 415 to Maia plus 315 on the other side. And I've questioned Fiorot before, have bet against her with some lower level women's fighters, but I've, kind of learned my lesson. I'm not really interested in fading Fiorot here until we get, a more properly suited opponent. I don't think Jennifer Maia is going to be giving her much trouble here. Fiorot, obviously a pretty high level striker, has been hurting women pretty badly in her UFC career so far, and Maia is just a slow, plodding woman on the feet. We saw Chukagian just bust her up. We've seen a lot of women just give her trouble on the feet because Maya is just a slow, plodding, maybe she lands some hands every now and then, but I just think her striking is kind of basic and slow. And I think we're going to have a big speed and striking advantage for Fiorot here on the feet. So Maya's going to need to get the fight down to the floor. I think that that's got to be the game plan fighting Fiorot, no doubt. She has shown a little bit of susceptibility in her defensive grappling pre UFC, but her takedown defense continues to improve. Got her best win over Bueno Silva in her last fight. And I just think that Fiorot's steadily improving in all areas, and I don't trust Maia to shoot those high takedowns. A great example is Maia versus Chukagi in the first fight. One of those rounds by getting a takedown and getting on top. So you would think in the rematch she should be coming to wrestle really hard, shooting a high amount of takedowns. But Maia just didn't do that. She shot 2 takedowns that fight. Both takedowns got easily stuffed. And Maia just doesn't strike me as a smart fighter, a fighter that knows how to get the fight in the area that gets her the biggest advantage. I think we actually might see Fiorot getting takedowns here by catching some of Maia's slow, sloppy kicks. That's happened throughout Maia's career several times. So I don't really know in terms of bets what interests me here. It seems like a matter of Fiorot by finish or Fiorot by decision. So what are you thinking here, Ozzy? You got any confidence in Maia, or you think Fiorot rolls?
Nope, no confidence in Jennifer Maia. I mean, her best shot here, I think, is catching a kick, and running Firo over. But I don't think Firo is probably going to look to do that. I mean, the issue here, if I was to play Maia, I try to play her by submission. I think what is that, like 12-1 or something, something like
18 to
that.
1.
18-1. So like, prospects, like very good prospects, the times that like sometimes these fighters fail is by submission. So I think I would look at that. But from looking at that Bueno Silva fight, I think it was a very tactical display by Firo. I won't bet her because I don't have good luck betting these French fighters. They're the fucking bane of my existence.
Except
Swear to
Imavov.
God.
Isn't he?
Except Imavov.
No. Is he even
Yeah.
French though? Oh no.
He's a Russian sniper, so I consider him not. But either way, Maya, she's just a glove sniffer, man. She's got that Vanderlei style. Sniff the gloves. Bob around a little bit. Hopefully, catch a kick, take you down. But I just think that overall, Fiorot, she's just gonna be staying. This is gonna be a boring fight. I don't see how this is gonna be an entertaining fight at all. I think Jennifer Maya, the way she wins is she either catches a kick to potentially get a takedown, she to gets taken down and finds a sweep, or she gets a submission on bottom. I think if they're striking for 25 minutes, Fiorot, she's just a lot cleaner with the punches, a little bit more direct overall. Maya, she's just like a very generic fighter, and I think that a fighter like Fiorot is just gonna look far superior in the cage in the overall sense to her. Could there be some value? Yeah, but sure, but I don't really want to get involved in a fight like this, and rooting for Jennifer Maia when you feel from the beginning that you're drawn dead. Like, so give me, I'll take Firo, but
Any thoughts on
bathroom break
Firo decision or knockout?
decision.
Decision, nice. Um, I'm guess I'm in agreement there. Yeah, Maya is pretty tough. She could take a beating, so I guess I agree with that. That's gonna take us to the middleweight division where we have some unknown guys. We got Ali. I don't know how to say his first name. Ali Skabab, Khizreiv taking on Dennis Tulinian. Kind of sketchy on the pronunciations. Both these
Black
guys. Good
Wolf,
thing
Black
for us
Wolf.
though. Neither of them will be around in the UFC for long
Whoa,
enough
whoa,
for us to really memorize their names.
whoa,
But
whoa. What's
on the odds here, we got Khizriev minus 1,000, Dennis plus 600 on the comeback. Very short notice fight here. Your turn to start this one
why,
off. What are you thinking?
why are you hating on the Black Wolf for, bro? He's not gonna be
Which one?
around. What do you?
Which one is that?
Which one do you think? Do you think this Dennis guy's good enough
Khizriev?
to have a fucking nickname? He's 10-5, dude. No, so yeah, why you hating on the black dude? The black, I mean, this dude Dennis. Look, let me just start with Dennis. I mean, the fact that he's 33 coming in, good for him. Got a good win on that cage or that whatever that UAE fight card over there. I mean, Black Wolf. I'm calling him Black Wolf. There's no way you're gonna have a name Black Wolf and me not use it. Black Wolf. I don't know what the deal with him is. He used to fight at 170. He's built like a little, freaking tank. I don't know what he's doing there at 185. He looks hilarious. He fights out of Eagles MMA though. So I mean, if you look at this guy's topology picture, all the guys in the picture look exactly alike. I don't know how these guys in Eagle. If you go into Eagles MMA, there's no way that you can remember all these guys' names because they all look the fucking same. All of them. I mean, in terms of the Kirziev guys, like in his camp, all these guys look the same. But anyway, this guy's got
Black
good.
hair, bowl cut with
Yup, bowl
the
cut.
thick chin strap.
But I don't understand what's been taking so long for him to fight. He's supposed to fight Turman, Dawkins, DeChirico, and now they're feeding him this guy. I mean, on Contender Series, this guy looked fucking like a dynamite. I mean, he took that guy's back, immediately slammed him down, choked him out. The biggest issue for him potentially could be just the size. Maybe that this guy stuffs a few takedowns, he tires out. Maybe he's not doing his cardio while up at 185. But Black Wolf is in a ground this guy. He's gonna look like what you saw what Darayev did on Contender Series is gonna look the same. He's gonna drag this guy down. He's gonna have one of those hooks in either from the front or the back, drag him down, hit him with ground and pound, and finish him. But insane line. These guys are out of control. I saw this at minus 1200 the other day. Um, I'm not touching it. You can make them, maybe make a part. This fight will finish inside the distance. Like either Black Wolf is gonna truck him, or he's gonna try and truck him, get met with resistance, and then get
Get
knocked out
knocked out.
himself. Yeah, get knocked out himself. So this will finish inside the distance. I'm gonna have an action violence bet on this on the under just for fucking fun. Minus 195. Let's do it. Oh well, whatever. But these guys are coming to bang. He's looking to kill this guy and get out of there quick. So let's go with that.
Yeah, so valid points about Khizriev. I mean, he has 1 minute and 48 seconds of fight time in 4.5 years, 2 fights in 4.5 years. Um, I don't understand why is he going to middleweight too. Like didn't look like a big welterweight. Was doing good. Looked like a good fighter in his most recent like fight that actually got extended. The Enomoto fight. I mean, the guy looks good. He's a southpaw striker. Capable wrestler. Good on top. I don't know why he's moving up to a middleweight. But his contender series win, I mean, he fought a complete bum on that show. How I don't understand how you can get rear naked choked that quickly. I honestly believe that a blue belt, would not have gotten rear naked choked in 50 seconds that
No,
quickly.
wrong,
You think I would have lasted
wrong,
longer? I'm telling you,
wrong.
dude. The Shigimoto got
I
taken
don't know,
down, got his
dude.
back taken, and then had no concept of what was coming. Just immediately let him get the rear naked choke. I'm telling you, the Martian is making it.
I understand, but I think you get submitted
No. I'm
just
lasting
quick.
more than 50 seconds.
I'm telling you, I had a few fights and I had a few fights that I finished guys within like 60,
Yeah,
70
I would
seconds,
probably
80 seconds.
I
You
would
just
last
panic.
longer.
You just start panicking in there. When shit starts not going well for you, you just start panicking. And you feel this guy, you feel this Black Wolf guy all over you.
A
You're
veteran
like,
like
get me out of
myself,
here.
I'm just telling you, I'm not tapping that quickly. Anyway, so Tiuliulin looks like seriously one of the worst grapplers I've ever seen getting into the UFC. I mean, this guy has no concept of stuff and takedowns. He lets you easily pass, mount, take his back. Doesn't really have any ability to get off his back. So I mean, I guess it is somewhat justified that this guy Khizriev is this minus 1,000 favorite, because if he gets one takedown, the fight really should be over. So it seems like a matter of, is Tiuliulin going to knock this guy out on the feet before he gets taken down? I do not think he's going to. His striking isn't even that good. So Khizriev is probably going to take him down and dominate here. So Khizriev by sub is only minus 120. I don't know. You think there's any value on that, or you think there's enough of a risk?
I have no idea, dude. Let's go to the
Nah,
next fight.
I'm saying
I don't know, dude.
Khizriev sub.
Under.
Khizriev sub minus 120. Square.
I agree. Probably minus one. No, it's probably good because if the fight even lasts longer too, he's gonna submit
Well,
him. I
yeah,
don't know.
and his inside the distance is minus 360. So I don't know. I don't see knockout as a 25%. But
What I would do, I would get funky. I try to do like submission round three. I have something crazy like it's 15
I
to
don't know if
1.
this
Submission round
bum is
three.
last until round three like that.
All right, submission round two is plus
Not bad. Yeah, not
750.
bad. Um,
That's not bad. You take the under. I take the under in that.
Moving on to an actual good fight in the bantamweight division. This is an awesome fight. We got Chris Gutierrez taking on Dana Batgerel. We have Batgerel minus 128, Gutierrez plus 108. So kind of a striker versus striker matchup here. Neither guy really known for offensively grappling, especially Gutierrez. 0% chance Gutierrez offensively grapples here. Batgerel might, but I highly doubt it. Batgirl has been looking great lately, knocking dudes out in round one, facing very little resistance. The dude definitely has power in both hands. He definitely has, some pop, some good boxing technique and fundamentals as well. I just feel like he's had a little bit too easy of a run in the UFC so far. Guido Canetti, still a tough out, but, a 40-year-old bantamweight at the time. Natividad, nowhere near UFC level. Brandon Davis, fringe UFC level, and just blasted him out of there. I mean, the guy, his power in boxing has looked good in those fights. I just feel like he hasn't been tested since the Alatang fight over 2.5 years ago. And I think the Gutierrez is going to be able to test him like he hasn't been tested in a while, because it seems to me like kind of like a leg kick volume striker versus the power puncher boxer here, and it's a very uh, competitive matchup. So I'll be on the Gutierrez side here. I think the longer the fight goes, it does favor him, but I'm kind of in a weird spot where I think that he is going to probably lose round one here. You got to think that the power of Batgerel is going to be the deciding factor in round one here. So Gutierrez might be a better live bet. You might be better off waiting to live bet this fight after round one, after you see Dana's best. But I still did take a small bet on Gutierrez at plus money before the fight. And I'm, looking to add some action here in the live lines. I just feel we haven't seen Dana look that good outside of round one. I mean, if you look at his career too as well, most of his wins come in round one. And I just feel if this fight gets out of round one, we're going to see Dana tested in a way that we haven't in a long time. And Gutierrez, his leg kicks, his cardio is out, but I think can give him trouble here in rounds 2 and 3. So I'll go with Gutierrez by 29-28 decision here. What are you thinking here?
I mean, first of all, if you're gonna bet Gutierrez, I told you this already, but and he's a slight dog, and you think he's gonna win a decision, you should just bet him by decision, which pays more than double that. You got to have at least some of Gutierrez by decision. But overall, I mean, Gutierrez has been a hard fighter to not the hard fighter to pin down. Let me not say that because he's been winning fights. If you're backing him, you've never basically never lost because you probably didn't back him in his first UFC fight against Barcelos. But I mean, this dude's been getting fucking softballs too. Ryan McDonald, fucking Cody Durden on like 2 days' notice. Upper weight
Very
class.
valid
Andre
criticism.
Andre Ewell, Felipe Corrales. Like Corrales, I mean, the issue here for me is, I mean, Corrales, if you look at that fight, Gutierrez, I know he didn't want to mess with the ground, right? But he lands 66% of his strikes. Like this dude, Corrales, is a legitimate punching bag, right? Doesn't really hurt him until late in that fight. In the second and third rounds, he's like super lethargic. He's not really throwing that much, for the credit that we give him for him being a great decision fighter. He's kind of just like the definition of pot shotting. He's pot shotting. He's not turning his hips or shoulders on any of these strikes. Throwing little leg kicks. It's been a while since we've seen him really chop in on calves. The Andre Ewell fight, he did it a little bit, but I don't really think that the Na is that worried about, hey, for me and this guy are striking, him kicking me in the calf. Like this guy's from Mongolia, man, and he definitely looks it. And he hits super hard as well. So, Gutierrez's issue has always been, he doesn't keep his hands up that much. He like leans away from punches and stuff. And he doesn't have that much power himself. And he's at a reach disadvantage here because the Na's built like, he's got a little length to him there as well. So this line is coming in a lot. I am kind of leaning towards being on the Nas side just because, I think his hands are just like I'm not, I don't want someone to misconstrue when I say cleaner because it's not that Gutierrez throws sloppy strikes or anything like that, but the intent on behind the shots that Dana throws and how he kind of sets himself up to throw these strikes so that they can be much more significant, and that's why you see him knocking these guys out, right? That's why you don't see Gutierrez knocking people out because he's really not comfortable with punches coming back in his direction right immediately, thereafter. His defense is not that great, I think, in the pocket, and he's always looking to exit, because of that, and he'll play the back foot as well. So I think the Na here has a decent matchup here. Like you said, I think he could get ahead of Gutierrez because, and I don't think that the Na's cardio is that bad either. I know he hasn't been out of the first round that many times, but he was, in that third round, I think, which the judges in China gave to Al Tong 10-8, which is insane. I think that's like
There was a point deduction.
it was a point deduction. Okay. But I thought that was a close fight overall. I think you could have made an argument that the Na, won 2 of the 3 rounds. But I'm not gonna penalize the guy for knocking dudes out that they're putting in front of him. I think that he's gonna be able to catch Gutierrez with cleaner strikes. I think it'll be a close fight. I'll take the Na if as long as the line continues to shorten and then maybe look to play this live. From there, not gonna be a big play for me on the Na. But I think I'm gonna play into him and then see, and then maybe honestly take some Gutierrez. The best line I think for the fight honestly is Gutierrez's decision. That line has the most value out of all of them. But I'll pick the knock.
Yeah, very valid points. Yeah, I mean, I
The
agree with
Nas a
pretty much
former
everything.
kickboxer. People should remember that this guy, former kickboxer. I think that was definitely his base. So I think he's gonna do good. He's got Brandon Gibson behind. This guy's ready. I know he has not had a lot of fanfare, but this dude's ready. He's a killer. I hear from some guys that train over there at Jackson Wink a little bit that he's serious.
Don't you
He's the real
think
deal.
that there's value on Batgerel's decision line as well, plus 350? I mean, like you said,
Yeah,
his cardio is not bad. I mean, I feel like I think Batgerel does have advantages in this fight, but his knockout line at 2-1. I mean, this is bantamweight after all. I mean, right?
this guy hits
It's
hard.
bantamweight.
He puts guys
Yeah,
down.
but
I'm telling
has
you.
Gutierrez ever been hurt in his career? I'm
Listen,
trying to think.
I'm telling you, he puts guys down. If you're picking up what I'm putting down.
I don't think he's been hurt in his career.
He's fought Andre Ewell, fucking Felipe Corrales, Cody Durden, Geraldo De Freitas,
Yeah, well,
Ryan McDonald.
it's
Who the
interesting
fuck
though.
there is dropping you? Who? None of
Those
those
are bad
guys probably
names.
haven't even knockdown in their career. That batch of guys probably does not. Between all of them, they probably barely have any knockouts.
That is true, but I like those
They
fights
all
because
fucking
at least
suck.
he, at least he struggled. At least he struggled. At least he came back. I value that
Bro,
more
he
than like a
struggles.
one
He
sided win
wins split decisions. He barely wins rounds. The
against
only
grapplers
way
though. Against
Gutierrez can
grapplers,
win is he's fucking chopping the calf, and that's how he got to the UFC. High
I think
time, be a
I think the
weasel,
boxing the
and calf
boxing
kick.
could be a lot closer than
Let's
we
see.
expect here.
All right, let's
Um,
see. Let's move on.
Next fight is at women's division, women's bantamweight. Carol Hossa as
Also,
the favorite, minus 200. Sarah McMann plus 170. Your turn to start this one off. What are your thoughts on the
lovely
second out
fight.
of three women's fights?
Lovely fight. Love it when they give us three women's fights on a card.
Mm,
What's her name? McMahon. I always get them mixed up. I remember last year, right? We were talking about Sarah McCann's fight or
I remember
McMahon's
this. Yeah,
fight and Molly McCann's fight, and I got them mixed up. You're like, no, and I was like, doesn't matter, dude. They're both gonna fucking lose. And what happened? But so McMahon's
that is a
off
true
that
story. That is a true story.
I know it's yeah, dude. I don't lie. If there's anyone that listens to this, and I'm not a bullshitter, I tell people exactly what it is, what's going on, and I could be wrong or I could be right, but I tell the truth. So either way, McMahon, right? She's coming off that loss to Juliana Pena, where I faded her heavily. And she's just like Misha Serkinov, who we saw like a month ago, 2 months ago, right? They're skilled, they got titles,
Good
previous
comparison.
titles, right? They got belts, they got fucking, people like, oh, this guy, they're wrestling or they're striking or they're jujitsu. They look like, that they're always in the gym, right? They're chiseled, and people thought they're tired. But at the end of the day, when the going gets tough, when the fights get chaotic, they fold. It's just what they do. And when you start watching MMA after a while, you can start to classify these fight across weight classes, across genders, or pronouns, all of that. You can start to classify these fighters into like little types, and that Sarah McMahon, she's just like Tom Breeze, she's just like Misha Serkinov, and she's a front runner, like you said earlier with Luis Saldana. She's a little bit of a front runner. Now that being said, here she's got legitimate skills. All right, she's a former freestyle gold medalist, not the fake kind either. This girl knows how to get on leg attacks, which I like in the women's division, and put girls down and hold them down. She's trained at Marcelo Garcia Academy. I know that she's got some submission games there. But here against Rosa has not encountered anybody who really wants to grapple with her at all. She actually went to the offensive takedowns against Jocelyn Edwards. And I really want to bet Carol Hosa because I think she's going to punch McMahon in the face, and I don't know. McMahon, she's got more to give. That's the thing. I mean, but the lady's 41 years old. Like, I just see people always fading fighters over age, and I can't believe that this line is coming in, given that there's a 14-year age difference. The algorithms must be fighting each other on this one heavily because they have a bunch of ground control metrics, that favor, if you're looking at them, favor Sarah McMahon. If you just look at the tape, you could see that if Sarah gets connected to Kara Hosa is going down. She's getting taken down, and she's probably not getting back up. And if she does get back up, I could definitely see Sarah McMahon, slipping around to her back, looking for that rear naked choke. And thus, because of this, and you have that 8-1 Sarah McMahon submission line. I've seen her, or I know that she's been visiting some grappling gyms. You know, she came out here to New York and was at Marcelo's, I think, earlier this year. So she's been working on that sub game. I think she does not want to go 15 minutes. I think if it does go 15 minutes, I don't think Kara Hossa at any point is going to relent, right? Is going to give up, right? So I think, McMann, she holds her down in the first round. All right. Like, she's going to have to get another takedown in the second round. Same thing about the third round. So because of that, and I think McMann knows this, she's going to be looking for that submission. So I'll take McMann by submission. But other than that, there's no touching this fight at all. I probably won't even watch it.
Yeah, I agree with what you said pretty much everywhere. If you're taking McMahon, you got to have that subline as well because we saw her have a pretty easy fight versus Pena for the first 7 or 8 minutes, right? She got the takedown, she was on top, not much resistance to those takedowns, and the fight was going her way throughout 8 minutes, and she still found a way to slow down, to gas out, to wilt, to get choked out there, and she did that rear naked choke wasn't even in. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I'm not tapping to that fucking rear naked choke from Juliana Pena in that situation. I mean, Sarah McMahon won it out of that fight. I see why you're mixing up the names too. Molly McCann, fresh on everyone's mind. You questioned her value last week, and she ended up looking minus 10 million out there, and just got signed by Barstool Sports as well. So big things coming from Meatball McCann. This fight really comes down to Rosa's takedown defense because the striking is going to be very one-sided for Rosa. She throws a lot of volume. She's going to be chugging forward, and McMahon hates getting hit. She's probably going to start really reconsidering her career the second she gets hit. As a 41-and-a-half-year-old woman coming off a 15-month layoff. And Rosa's pre-UFC fights versus like Pacheco, Larissa Pacheco, who's also a good fighter. This isn't necessarily a bad look. Exactly. You said Rosa at one point, bro. So don't
I
be
said
giving me
Hossa. I said
pronunciations
Hossa.
on
I said
that one
Hossa. It's
during
actually
one of the.
Hossa.
You said Rosa. One
Okay,
of the.
did you say Hossa?
I know.
You didn't.
I
Okay.
did I did when
Pacheco
I
is
introduced
easy,
them.
bro.
Yeah,
Come on, you can't get Pacheco. I gave you a mulligan on the Michelitis.
Pacheco took her down, put her in some bad spots. But Rosa's takedown defense is clearly getting better. She's obviously getting better in all areas of MMA. Being a full-time MMA fighter now, and unless McMahon just gets dominant positions here on the mat, I don't see Rosa losing the fight. I mean, it's going to be so one-sided in the striking. The cardio favors Rosa. Round 3 favors Rosa. Even if McMahon wins the first 2 rounds with taking her down, there's a good chance that one punch in round 3 from Rosa is going to make McMahon just shut down. So I think you gotta have some maybe look to live bet Rosa here because McMahon's probably gonna get her down early. Like she's gonna have like one initial takedown, and then Rosa's gonna work her way back up to the feet, and you're gonna get Rosa at like pick'ems or something like that in the live line. So I'd say wait, live bet Rosa here. Maybe take some Rosa around. I'm doing it right now. Rosa round 3 props, and maybe just hope that McMahon wilts as usual. And that's gonna be enough about that one. All things said and done.
Yeah, I'm going with I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add in. Does it go the distance on that fight? Plus 130, not bad.
Really interesting. I don't know.
These bitches are gonna scrap.
I don't know if I like that. Wait, it says
Rosa's gonna give up or Hossa's gonna get finished.
Hossa's submission is plus 450 and McMahon's is 800. How is that possible? How is it should be plus?
I think they feel like that. I'm telling you, they really pricing in the McMahon quit job like heavily.
That's true. McMahon Hosa's knockout plus 550. That's worth a poke. A lot of props here.
Interesting stat. Sarah McMahon is 6-1 in decisions, and Hossa is 9-1 in decisions. So thus, what I'm telling you is going to happen. There will be no decision in this.
That's a good point. I feel like Hossa could have finished a few of her UFC opponents so far and hasn't been able to get the job done, but hopefully this is one. I'm searching for a line here. I want to see what Hossa knockout round 2, round 3 is. Hossa knockout 2-3 is plus 1,000. So what was that reaction you just heard that we just heard?
Oh man, these my boys that line my pockets, the Italian national team, they're not going to be in the World Cup after letting a goal into North Macedonia. Wow, K1, eat your heart out.
Oh my god, what an interesting.
That's nuts, dude. Italy,
okay.
dude. 4-time World Cup champion. Now they know how Americans feel. It was cool, but
We got better
maybe
things to
don't
talk
count.
about. We got Neil Magny versus Max Griffin to talk about. Welterweight division, Neil Magny,
Oof.
minus 250. Max Payne Griffin plus 210. Um, no way Max Payne Griffin is looking plus 210 here. I mean, I think Griffin is actually steadily like improving as a fighter still. I think he's, fighting at his best that he ever has. Maybe the same could be said about Magny. I mean, Magny is looking good lately, still, like you like to say, weaseling his way to a decision. Loves getting fights in the clinch, loves, maybe getting some grappling time. And it's just a really reliable fighter to show up for the full 15 minutes. So I don't have bad things to say about Neil Magny, but minus 250, I don't think so. I just think that Griffin can make this fight close everywhere. He has leg kicks, good leg kicks that Magny does struggle with. He is a decent offensive wrestler. Griffin has, pretty solid cardio, some decent power behind his punches. He knocked out Song, he finished Brahima, he dropped Mike Perry back in the day. So like the dude's got some pop behind his punches, and I just feel nowhere in this fight he's going to look plus 210. I think that he really is going to be covering his price tag the entire time. Not quite sure if he's actually going to pull off the win. I think he's kind of destined to lose like a 29-28 here. And I was looking to get in the plus 3.5 line, but the odds are not really looking too appealing on that. Maybe they'll improve
What is it?
before
Oh,
fight day.
minus 180.
It's minus. Yeah. I think that's a pretty sharp set line, so I'm not really too interested in that. But Griffin money line, I think you got to have a small bet on his money line. I think he's going to be looking better than plus 210, especially in round one. You can maybe get in live on Magny after round one. He is a pretty slow starter, but comes back late in a lot of his fights. So I like Max Payne here. Not really quite sure how he's going to win, but I think he's going to look better than plus 200.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, looking at this fight, I mean, Neil Magny, man, I'm not gonna say I hate Neil Magny. I just hate the way Neil Magny fights. Like, I just don't like guys that fight like Neil Magny. Neil Magny himself, I like him. Cool guy. Always shows up to fight. He's got great cardio. He's always doing stuff. But that's the thing. He's just doing stuff a lot of times. And how the fights devolve, what the fights devolve into, is this clinch fest that he convinces you to stay within. He's so long that he makes you uncomfortable at range. So you want to close distance. You see this skinny guy, freaking, toothpicks for fucking calves, jabbing you on the outside, and you immediately think, hey, if I wrap my arms around him, maybe I'll be able to take him down, control him, whatever it is. But then in there, he's like super crafty as well. But I love Max Griffin here in this fight, honestly. I mean, if you look at Magny's past few opponents, it's just like how they're rating Max Griffin is just, I rate him higher. I mean, you could debate. Obviously, the Morono fight, he fought like a moron. Okay, but he started taking him down in the third round. But you could argue, like with that fight, that this dude's on like a 7-fight win streak. Like the Thiago Alves fight, robbery. The Ziem fight beat him, right? Morono, I told you about that. The Alex Oliveira fight, weird fight. Thought he won. Ramirez, Song, Carlos Condit. I think he's actually kind of like a solid foil, like opposing Neil Magny, right? He's strong everywhere, right? He's not a standout in any aspect of the fight, right? Whether it be striking or grappling, whatever. Has good cardio, has good chin, throws hard, is fine in the clinch, right? He fucking ripped the guy's ear off from grinding him against the fence a few fights ago. This dude's nasty. He's been in there with proven guys, right? He's been 3 rounds. I don't see how this is like one of the better underdogs when you look at the profile overall, especially in a matchup against Neil Magny, who, I mean, this guy's not finished. I mean, he might finish now after me saying this, but I don't think he's finishing anyone. He's Max Griffin. How many times has Max Griffin been finished? Like, I don't think in the UFC, I don't think he's been finished. Did
Oh,
Kobe
Colby,
Renick and choke him?
Colby, ground and pound.
Yeah, Kobe ground and pounded him. But other than that, I don't think this guy's even really been hurt. I think maybe Curtis Millender, whatever, might have hurt him a little bit in that fight, and that's why he lost that. But his chin is super solid. He's got range, right? He's got good reach. And then if this does devolve into a fight in the clinch, Max Griffin's way stronger than Neil Magny, just like significantly stronger. So if these guys get caught up pummeling against the fence and doing all this stuff, I think Max Griffin can actually take Neil Magny down. And I
For
know he's
sure.
been in some contentious decisions. So I mean, I'm real like this is a lot of times I'm like maybe overzealous sometimes on some underdogs, but at a plus 200 price tag, I mean, this is one of the more surprised. I thought fair line for this would be like, Magny minus 160, Griffin plus 140, something in that nature where, it kind of gives, and also doesn't give that much credence to the power dynamic either here. Like Magny's more favored to win ITD than Max Griffin is? Why? I don't know. Like Magny's more likely the KO lines are identical. That doesn't make any sense at all. So I'll take Max Griffin here. Favorite underdog of the week, I'll tell you now. For me, and I think that this could, if this ends up being a super close fight, which I think it could be, and I'm holding a 2-1 ticket, 1-1 in the third round against Neil Magny. That's the situation that I'd like to put myself in. So, I'll take Max. I'll sprinkle that. I'll take money line, and then his decision line 4.5 to 1. I think that's a good look as well. For
You
sure.
know what I was saying about plus 3.5 in the Zaleski and Morono fights, he didn't cover plus 3.5 because they both got 110 round, but he did win one round in the Zaleski, the Melender, the Alves, the Morono, the Oliveira. He's winning one round every single time he loses a decision. So I think the plus 3.5. If we can get a little bit closer, like minus 150, I think that's worth it too.
Yeah,
Um,
and although this is a fight down in the rankings, like technically for Neo Magny, it's a fight because UFC always has this like buildup of guys that like don't break through into the top 15 or get fights. Like these guys are much more even than, let's say Magny's ranked like 8th and Max Griffin's like 28th or something like whatever it is. Because Magny he's been consistently fighting at the top, and Max Griffin, he's been steady waiting, and these are the kind of fights the UFC puts together. Like, it's a weird fight. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like one of the last fights on Neil Magny's contract either. Just to throw that in
And
there.
that's gonna move us along to the main card here. Lightweight division starting things off. We got Slava Borshev as the favorite, taking on Mark Diakiese. Slava minus 146, Diakiese plus 126. A lot of action coming in on Diakiese. I am part of that action, but I started the last one, so I'll let you go first. What are you thinking here?
I definitely respect it. Mark Diakiese in that last fight just got caught, diving in, capping to anyone, with a guy like Alves who's got a great guillotine. Um, Diakiese, the good thing about him is he's long, obviously, right? He's pretty strong, right? He's got power in his strikes, but he could fight on a few different ways. That submission loss, notwithstanding, he's comfortable at range. He's comfortable in the clinch. He could go to his wrestling as well. And Slava, much more one-dimensional guy, right? He's looking to get in the range and just start slinging leather. Like even though he's a credentialed striker, I don't think it's that deep overall, right? He just wants to get in range and start banging with you. As we say this, down to minus 140. He just wants to get in range and throw. But Dakota Bush, I mean, this guy's huffing and puffing 2.5 minutes into that fight after landing that takedown. So I definitely see why people like the Casey side. Although, I mean, you look at the how I'm thinking about how he's in a window. Like, is he gonna get a finish over him? Like, is he gonna push hard for that? If they're at range, I do think that it's a pretty close fight that I would favor a little bit Slava in. But I would think that DKC is gonna try and work the clinch here a little bit. Maybe start leg kicking first, because Slava is a little bit more focused on the hands. But I mean, I'm not that interested in this fight. To cut it short here, I do think that the DKC bets are sharp. But I do think that he could definitely fold later on, just because Slava looks to me like he carries his power a bit well. Like he's the kind of guy when he's throwing a combination, he knows which punch to take a little bit off of, which punch to sit down on with intent. So definitely think a later stoppage could happen. But I agree with the DKC love, but it's definitely a fight that I passed on overall.
Yeah, so I got Dick Casey here, 1.5 units on him, and I like him a lot in this spot. I initially just bet Dick Casey, without taping because I like the line. Then I rewatched the Borshev versus Bush fight, and then I added some more to Dick Casey after that. I mean, Slava just looks so incredibly sloppy in that fight. And even on the feet, he got, tied up in the clinch with the double plum in the clinch, then ate a huge knee, maybe looked a little bit wobbled there. And he got taken down twice, was able to stand up from those takedowns and then just hit, one nice body shot. It was a very, very nicely placed body shot,
All
but
it
it just
takes,
folded
though.
Bush over.
One is all
I
it
don't know. It
takes.
has
One body
but
shot.
Diakiese body kicks from Fiziev. He's not going down from a body shot from Borschev.
True.
And even in Borshev's fight in the Contender Series against Duncan, that was a back and forth, sloppy brawl. Eventually found a nasty kill shot, and I think
That fight
people
was
are just
crazy.
falling a little bit too in love with the power of Borshev. Clearly does have a nuclear left hand, but I think the guy's not a good defensive grappler. Completely unproven in that area. And in terms of his provenness, he's been proven to be a bad defensive grappler. So he really needs to prove himself that he's improving his takedown defense. Only what, just 3 months between his fight, less than 3 months. I actually sent out a tweet about this. Very good narrative nation here we got going on. Did I think 6 fighters in the UFC have fought twice in 2022, and all 6 of them are 1-1. Borshev will be attempting to be the first fighter to win 2 fights in the UFC in 2022. So the trend shows that he will lose this fight. So I like that for an increase in confidence in my bet, but. Diakiese on the feet is a very solid striker. I don't think he's going to be out of his depth on the feet at all. I'm not entirely convinced that Borshev is the better striker than Diakiese. And then Diakiese does have some decent wrestling in his back pocket that he can use in this fight to give him an even bigger advantage. Don't forget this guy, out wrestled and took down, beat Lando Venata just a few years ago via a very decisive decision. And Lando much better fighter than Borshev. So I'm down to fade Borshev. I think that these Contender Series guys coming off their knockouts, the market, the public just loves them too much, and I'm definitely down to get on DKC. The market is low on him. I don't know if you remember this, Ozzy, but right before DKC and what's the guy he just lost to, Alves, DKC was like minus 290 on Bet Online, and Alves money line got up to like plus 245 the day of the fight. Everyone was loving Diakiese just a few months ago, and now people are lowing him as the underdog to a Contender Series fighter with less than 10 fights. So give me Diakiese here. I like him to win the fight, maybe even get a late stoppage. Um, and that's going to take us to an amazing fight. This is what the UFC is all about, honestly. In the heavyweight division, we got Latifi taking on Alexei Oleinik. Just an amazing old man fight here. Latifi minus 205, Alexei Oleinik plus 175. I've got a bet on this fight, and it is for the fight to go the distance. Now, here is an interesting thing. I am notoriously terrible at betting heavyweight fights and heavyweight overs, but I'm actually good at betting fights to go the distance, and I've had success betting heavyweight fights to go the distance as well. So, very,
Yo, trust me, bro.
I don't know what the word, conflicted statistics here going on. But my opinion here is that Latifi doesn't throw enough strikes to finish Oleinik, and Latifi has no neck for Oleinik to submit. So how are they going to finish one another? How are they finishing each other, Ozzy?
Uh,
How is the fight to not go the distance minus 210?
uh, I don't.
I'll let you
I
reply real
mean,
quick before I
thinking
get
about
in.
it, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Oleinik looked like he gave up though. When who was the last guy he fought where he just started looking at the ground when the guy's hitting him?
I think it was Daukaus.
Yeah, I was talking.
Daukaus.
So maybe that's
Right,
why.
but
But
he fought Spivak. He fought
yeah,
Spivak since then,
they
though.
were banging in that fight.
And we know
Yo,
Spivak
I
is a great
agree. I
fighter.
agree overall,
Yeah.
but what do I know?
So my thinking here is that Oleinik is actually going to win the striking because Latifi at heavyweight has resorted to pretty much lay and pray. Right, he's looking to take you down, lay and pray, and got very close to beating Derek Lewis based on that, and then did successfully beat Tanner Bosser based on that.
Tremendous gift on that one. Tremendous. That was
On
tremendous in my
Bosser?
bankroll.
Oh no,
No,
I think. Oh yeah,
winning
I bet
Latifi.
Latifi there too. I bet
Oh my! I
Latifi there
got
too.
Latifi
I don't.
9-1. That was what the straw that broke Bovada's back. I hit him 9-1 on there, and they were like, "No, get out
For
of
him
here."
to win decision.
It was live. Like after he got
Oh,
hit with
really?
that weird ass
Oh, that
punch.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
he went to
Yeah,
like
exactly.
9-1.
Latifi literally got knocked out in the middle of the fight and still won. But Latifi just doesn't really throw strikes, right? Even when he on the feet, especially, he's not throwing strikes. And then once the fight gets to the floor, he's not really throwing either. So really, the biggest risk for a finish here, I think, is going to be a Latifi ground and pound finish. But with how conservative he's being with his energy lately, I don't think he's going to be throwing ground and pound. I think he's going to want to get on top, get in half guard, hold Oleinik down, watch out for those tricky submissions off his back, and just hold that top position. And it is probably the most likely outcome here for Latifi to get takedowns, to hold them, and to win the fight via top position. But I'm cool with that happening because I think that'll go the distance. But on the feet, Oleinik is going to be charging forward. He's going to be putting up volume like he did against Verdum, like he did against Spivak. He's going to be, throwing those windmill punches, and they're hard to stop. Especially with Latifi not having much of a counter striking game to come back on. Maybe Latifi can catch him with a clean punch, because at one point at 205, Latifi did have some pop behind his punches, but we have not seen that here at 265. And I think Oleinik might even have a chance to keep this fight standing and to win the fight by just charging forward, spamming strikes like he does. I honestly think that Oleinik by decision at plus 800 is going to be worth a bet too. I'll probably be betting that as well. But my biggest bet here is 1 unit for the fight to go the distance. I bet it plus 166. It's already plus 156. I'm already getting CLV up the wazoo. So I like for the big man to go to the decision here. Over 1.5, that's good too. Starts around 3, that's good. I like all the overs.
All the overs. All right. So, I mean, you're 100% correct. I mean, it was a tremendous fight. I can't wait until the face-offs, just to, I mean, when you look at this fight, I mean, these two guys remind me of like two bouncers at like a EDM, like a tech kind of like Brooklyn spot. And
And what I was
you
gonna say, what city? What
Nah,
city?
I mean, I don't know about the
What
cities, I don't want to be, show my biases, but I just feel like and you look at these guys like don't fuck with Latifi. Like this guy will fucking throw you into a gutter, fucking stomp your head while it's in there. But like Oleinik, he's the kind of guy like you got a couple chicks with you, maybe you left your ID, some shit like that. Like he'd be like, all right, you seem like a cool guy. I let you date my daughter, like, or you could be friends with my daughter. Like, go ahead, go inside, go inside. But Latifi, not so much. I think this guy, he's looking to get paid in drugs or money, and that's the only way he's letting you in. So, and it's disappointing to me looking also at Hamza and Darren Till, because I feel like they're these guys at an old age. Like I would love to see a reality TV show of Oleinik and Latifi. But let me get into the fight. I got some early Latifi at minus 140. Okay, I thought that was a good price, and obviously the markets agreed. The issue for me, I mean, Latifi's massive at heavyweight, right? This guy's still a fire hydrant. He's probably gonna have 12 to 15 pounds on Oleinik, and because of that, I actually don't think Oleinik's gonna stop the takedowns. Excuse me. At least there will be at some point, Latifi will get this guy in the ground. Now, you're talking about like the striking. The issue for me with thinking about the goes distance is how Oleinik throws the punches, right? He's just running forward. He's got women's MMA striking. The issue is that Latifi at any point, he could just sit down, close his eyes, and throw the only punch he knows how to throw, which is an overhand from either direction, and hit this guy in the head, clean.
Very
And I'll
true.
tell you, he hits a lot harder than Sergey Spivak and his B minus striking, right? Did you see him throwing windmill punches just toe to toe, just walking, just standing toe to toe with Sergey Spivak? That was hilarious. That won't happen in this fight. Latifi will either that's happening, he's gonna knock him out, or he's gonna take him down. Now that being said, I think I'm gonna keep some of my Latifi, but if this guy shows any cracks at all, like I'm going with Oleinik. I think. But if this price, or let me say, secondly, if Oleinik hits plus 190, I'm gone. I'm out. I'm on Oleinik because that's too much for a guy in Latifi who, like you said, doesn't do that much.
Doesn't throw
Um,
strikes.
he doesn't throw strike. He's fat as fuck. He fights. When the fuck is the last fight he had? He fought Bozer. Like,
Monster.
yeah, he fights once a year. I hate that. Like, I hate betting on guys that fight once a year. His chin is not tested at heavyweight, right? He got hit by one heavyweight who's barely a heavyweight. And he was like coddling away. So if the Oleinik that fought Verdum shows up, this dude's in
He's
trouble.
winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Latifi's in trouble. He'll
But
finish Latifi. He'll finish
but what's
Latifi.
good for you though is Verdum got easy takedowns in that fight. Anytime Verdum shot a takedown, Oleinik just fell right over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but that's gonna happen. That's what I'm telling you. It's gonna happen.
yeah,
Like Oleinik's not. He's not get like he does not have the ability. I feel to get up under a guy like Latifi.
yeah. That's the difference is that
I feel.
Verdum was going for back takes and arm bars falling off the back, and he was trying to do
Yeah,
too
all that
much.
stupid shit.
Latifi's just gonna lay in top half guard and
Yeah,
keep him there.
yeah,
Interesting
yeah.
stat is
You're and you already know. Yeah, I mean,
Latifi has
and
landed
yeah,
15 significant strikes in his past 30 minutes in the cage. So that means every
this
every
fight's gonna be
2 minutes
awesome.
he lands one significant strike.
It's
I agree. It's going to be amazing.
show me a whack Oleinik fight. Oleinik fights are fucking hot. Like they're always in the main card.
Yeah,
Always.
never been a
This
bad one.
guy's a main card fighter. No, never.
Amazing fight there. And that's going to move us along to flyweight division. Amazing
Dude,
that they're putting
Oleinik's
these
got a
fights.
lot of finishes, bro.
They're putting these
What's
fights
Oleinik?
back to
Hold on.
back
What's
too.
ITD Oleinik? Old ITD Oleinik
I guess
is
plus 350,
250.
250.
Fuck, that's not
I
good
don't know
enough.
about that. Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Well, yeah, let's
he
move
has
on.
Latifi's got no neck, bro. How is he gonna get him out of there? I mean, an armbar, maybe. I don't know.
He
Um,
I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna bet some Oleinik KO. Fuck it.
but the fact that they're doing this heavyweight fight right after and then they got the flyweights next. Amazing placement on the card. We got Askarov minus 425, Kaikar France plus 320. I'm a little interested in the underdog here. What about you? It's your turn to start this one off.
Love this fight. I mean, I was watching that Joseph Benavidez fight again, and I think I told a few people I the week of that fight, right? I was on Joseph Benavidez the whole week. I'm like, Benavidez gonna be able to wrestle with this guy, blah blah. Askar, this guy's an idiot, whatever. He's not. And then I heard Joel Benavidez at one of his interviews, media interviews, say that like he was like watching like talking about watching movies with Megan O'Leary and like being sad about coming back home from training and that Megan had to be like working or whatever the fuck she's doing and she couldn't watch movies with him certain days. And I was like, fuck, this guy's definitely losing. Because Askarov, this guy was in the Paralympics, bro. You know why? Because he's deaf, bro. This guy's not watching any fucking movies. He's not catching up on Euphoria, on Billions. This guy doesn't care about any of that shit. He's just there to wrestle, win. Like I don't even think this guy. He probably doesn't even deposit his checks, bro. Like I don't even think he deposits the money that he gets, bro. This
They
guy
go
is
right
all
to
about fighting.
Kadyrov. They go.
They go right to Kadyrov. They go right to support Putin. I feel like that's the kind of guy Askarov is. No slander, no defamation. Don't hit me with that. He can't. He
No one
unfortunately he
tell him.
can't.
No one tell him we said this.
No one tell him. He's not gonna hear any of this. But nobody tell him. But anyway, fighting wise, this guy's fucking legit. And obviously I can see why people would be interested in Kaikara France. But the wrestling on this guy, Askar, is real. Like if he had both functioning ears, he might have been in the real Olympics, bro. Because this guy stays on you. If you look at his regional UFC or regional MMA fights, which is gonna lead me to the prop that I like in this fight. I think I'm gonna invest a little bit in this Askar by submission line because in these fights that he had before the UFC, he's tying guys up. He's going for submissions everywhere. He's going for guillotines, twisters, fucking different shit from guard. He's taken Joseph Benavidez's back, right? He could have finished a choke there. I thought he didn't really go for it too much. Kaikar France, all the times that he's losing, he's getting out grappled. Like, look at that fight against Bontarin, getting out grappled. Look at that fight against Brandon Royval, getting caught, his neck caught. He and after he gets caught in the guillotine, right? Is he like flopping around? Like, he got finished pretty easily. And I feel that control that Askar is bringing here gonna be nothing like this dude. Kaikar France has felt. Now, Kaikar France does have that uppercut, which I think he's gonna have to nail Askar with when he ducks in because he's gonna be going for a takedown within the first like 2.5 minutes, I think, of this fight. And once it's there, I just don't see Kaikar France getting back up. On the feet, I think it's actually a little bit closer than people would imagine. right? Or maybe not. I don't know. But Askar, I mean, he moves all right on the feet. He's unconventional, and I don't think it's that easy to hit. He's just like a weird guy, man. And it's not easy to hit him. But this dude, Kai France, he does not have the wrestling. He does not have the ground defense. He gives up his back too easily. That's the problem here. Askar's going to take him down, and the way that Kai France is going to get up is going to lead to a guy like Askar just getting higher up on the rope, just climbing up on you and putting you in a worse position. So I'll take Askarov by submission at a little more than 3-1.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I haven't looked at that prop yet, but plus 360 I think is good. I think if you look at Askarov's record, he finished every opponent before the UFC, and then has had 4 decisions in the row in the UFC. But you got to give this
This
guy
is the
you got to
time.
give this guy credit. I mean, his first 4 fights in the UFC: Moreno, Elliott, Pantoja, Benavidez. That might be the toughest 4 fights ever for someone coming into the UFC. Um, and I do think that he's probably going to get around to the back at some point too. And Kaikar Francis doesn't strike me as a guy who is going to be content to make it to the decision. He's going the type of guy to get a little reckless, to try to shuck him off the back and try to make something happen so he can win the fight. He's not going to just stay against getting controlled for multiple minutes against the cage. He's going to try to make something happen, and if he gets submitted, so be it. So I think that is good. That plus 360 prop, I'll likely put some on that. But I do have a bit more faith in Kaikar, like his money line, than the odds indicate, because Askarov has been a bit of a slow starter in the UFC so far. We saw Moreno hit him with some strikes that wobbled him a few times, and I mean Kaikar does have really great boxing skills, good power in his hands. He's got a nice uppercut, and I think good straight right hand that drop Bontarin as well. And I think that at distance, it's got to be 60-40 to Kai Kara France, minimum. Uh, Askarov does have some interesting striking. He has good front kicks. I'll give him his props when it comes to his kicking game. But in terms of boxing range, I think it's going to really favor Kai Kara France. And this round one here, if Kai Kara starts fast and starts pumping out those hands, there's a good chance he could catch Askarov early on here. But it's hard to imagine France winning anyway besides knockout. If he hurts Askarov with a shot, Askarov's gonna, start wrestling really heavily, and he's gonna get those takedowns. And it's just really hard to imagine Kaikar France winning 2 rounds here. So you might as well be taking that KKF knockout prop at plus 800. Maybe his round 1, round 2 knockout props, the combo props, if you can get in on those. But Askarov by decision minus 115. I think that's going to be a sweaty 15 minutes, especially if he gets those dominant positions, that back take. I mean, no one has controlled Joe Benavidez like Askarov did in round 2 of that fight. Um, but I think the money line, a little bit disrespectful to Kaikar France, but also you might as well have that knockout prop at plus 800 instead of the money line, and that Askarov sub plus 360. Those are good odds too. So good find by Ozzy there. Um, yeah, so inside the distance, it might be a good play as well. Plus 155. A lot of finishes on the table here. Really amazing fight, but whoever wins this fight should be fighting, the winner of the quadrology or whatever you call it between Figgy and Moreno. Whoever wins is really going to deserve that title shot. So, enough said about that one. Another pretty epic fight between 2 old men here in the welterweight division this time. Bryan-Barberena taking on Matt Brown. Barberena minus 115, Brown minus 105. So it's a pretty simple fight to break down, but I still don't know who's going to win. I still don't think you can be confident in either guy here. I think if you're confident in one guy, it has to be Barberena, because I see this fight as like a volume and cardio versus power type of fight. Matt Brown, obviously the fighter with the more power of the two, but Bryan-Barberena has the more reliable output, the better minute winning ability, the more reliable cardio. We've seen him, win fights later than Matt Brown has. Barberena won round 3 versus Weeks. He came back and had a big round 3 against Jason Witt. Won a decision against Anthony Ivy. Matt Brown hasn't really been having success late in the fight like that. So based on cardio and volume alone, I think you got to favor Barberena here at 55, 60%. He could eat a big punch from Matt Brown and get knocked out at some point. He might have some trouble with the leg kicks of Matt Brown, but Barberena's durability hasn't looked that badly. I know he did get dropped by Jason Witt a few times. That's definitely the worst moment of his career, probably. But I don't think his chin has looked that bad. And Matt Brown, his output is pretty minimal. Not really throwing a whole lot of punches out there. So I'll be leaning Brown here as well. I bet Barberena, or excuse me, I'll be leaning Barberena. I bet Barberena his last fight against Weeks, and I told myself no more betting Barberena after that fight. But this line is still enticing me, being at a pick 'em here. I think Barberena minus 130 minimum is what it's got to be. Not writing off Matt Brown's chances for a knockout, but come on, you gotta have Barberena here as the favorite. Are you in agreement here?
I mean, I
I feel like you're more of
I
a
mean,
Matt
the
Brown
thing is,
guy.
Matt Brown, I don't like how he slowed down in that fight against Condit. That was not a good sign to me. But this guy, he's fought what, like this would be his fifth fight in 2.5 years, more or less. So, he's staying right in there. The Diego Lima fight was crazy. That was funny. But this dude Barberena's, I mean, this guy's only 32 years old. And he's been fight like I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not gonna bet on this fight, okay, unless I could get plus money on one of these sides. I do think that at range, man, like this dude Brown's got some reach advantage here, right? He's got 4 inches of reach. He's nasty with some of these strikes that he throws when in close. And Barberena, man, he's always in danger. So if he's going toe to toe with Brown, I think Brown ices him. Like if he's in there with like how he was with Weeks, where he's just always in his face, like even in the clinch, like Brown's gonna start landing. I think some elbows or some knees or that right hand. Like, he just throws way harder. So even though it's really hard to put away Barberena, I do think that Matt Brown, if he can pace himself, I think he can hurt Barberena. And it's just a matter of, where does he put himself defensively from there. So I'm gonna lean towards him, but I'm not betting this. This is as much of a coin flip as you could get. So
What do you think about the fight ends by knockout at minus 140? You think any value there?
uh minus 140. Nah, no, because like I said, Barberena is fucking crazy tough. So
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel it should be a striking fight between guys whose durability is both weaning. So, based on that logic alone, minus 140 might not be bad, but um, that's enough said about that one. Co-main event time: Alexa Grasso, Joanne Wood, formerly Calderwood. We got Grasso minus 234, Joanne Wood plus 199. What are you thinking about this women's
big
co-main event?
fade on Joanne Wood based on this line. Like, Grasso is pick 'em against Macy Barber. She's like, and then she's this line, a little shorter, or a little more, I mean, against Kim. But these are her only two data points at 125. And they're against one fighter in Kim who can't win against anyone, right? She can't buy a fucking win. And Barber, who she can't hit anybody at 125. She can't land any punches. So, I mean, I think Joanne Wood. I know you people are talking about these women's MMA chalk, but bro, I'm not paying 2-1 chalk on Alexa Grasso to beat a girl in Wood who, other than getting hurt like against Santos, like that's the first time you saw her get stunned. I'm not betting on this fight, okay? Because I want to back Grasso. She's got cleaner boxing. She can kick. She decent at holding her range. She's got some power and she sits down her punches. When it hits the ground, her jiu-jitsu game is better than Joanne Wood's. But Joanne Wood, she likes to get into that clinch game, right? She's very crafty, as a fighter, and in like herself, right? She's a veteran of the sport. It's not like Kim or fucking Barber, who both of them have like less than 10 fights, right? So like this is not no rookie that she's fighting here. So I think it's gonna be a closer fight. If I wasn't going to pick, I think that Wood is able to throw these front kicks, stifle that jab a little bit of Alexa Grasso, land some kicks, and make this a much closer fight. So What's Wood by decision? If that's over
It's got to be
three to
plus
one, I'm in.
300,
It's basically 3 to 1, 330,
330,
340. Yeah, so
360.
it's not bad because the thing with Grasso is, man, like, yeah, she's solid, but sometimes she's just not aggressive enough. She's got Macy Barber. She should have been detonating all over Macy Barber's chin. Like, this girl can't hit you, Alexa. Like, fucking, turn on the jets on her. Become like an actual star.
She
She
only landed 25 strikes in the first 2 rounds versus Barber,
She's getting this
you know?
Mexico money, this Mexico fucking influencer money. So she doesn't even need to fight anymore, bro. She's pulled out of her last 2 fights. Or well, I guess Araujo pulled out of the last one. But either way, I like Alexa Grasso. Don't get me wrong. I think she could beat a lot of girls in the division. But because of an 8-year age difference and Joanne Wood getting rear naked choked by a fucking powerhouse in Talia Santos, she's 2 to 1. She's never been 2 to 1 in her career. I don't think against anyone. Ever. Like, even
Except
let's see.
Santos.
Oh yeah, that fight. But other than that, never. So, and there's no grappling. Like, when I saw that Santos one, I was like, all right, like, yeah, Santos is. I mean, you see her
And
typology picture,
she
bro.
was near
Look at her
plus
typology
200.
picture, and look at Alexa Grasso.
She was
All
near
right.
plus 200 versus Andrea Lee, and she won that fight.
Yeah.
Plus 200 versus Ariane Lipsky won that fight.
Yeah,
So
but
seems like when she is a dog like this, she's undervalued. All right, so our recording got cut off here, so I'm not exactly where it exactly cut off at, but I was saying is I don't like Wood overall. I don't love her chances in this fight, but for a women's MMA striking fight that is likely to go to the decision, Wood at plus 360 to win by decision is wrong. So I'll be down to take some action on Wood by decision, even though I don't have the most faith in her. And I like Grasso better, but these odds are a bit too overzealous for her. So I'll be dog or pass on that. And that's going to take us to the main event, heavyweight main event. We got Philly's own Chris Daukaus taking on Curtis Blaydes. Blaydes minus 460, Daukaus plus 360. And, you know, hard to have much faith in Chris Daukaus here. I mean, his pre-UFC fights, he was taken down, put on bottom in a few of those. The Sean Teed fight was one, and then the more I'd say glaringly bad one was the fight against a guy named uh, Jeff Blanchley. Now, this was in 2016. We haven't really seen him face takedowns since, but he did get taken down in that fight, stuck on his back. He went full guard. He, didn't just show the greatest, instincts in terms of getting back up to his feet. Now, he was still able to win that fight, but the Sean Teed fight, he got Americana'd from like half guard or something like that. So bad sign there. Um, but man, it's so hard to have any type of read on this fight. I mean, obviously, Daukaus has improved a significant amount since the last time we've seen him grapple, and Curtis Blaydes is just complete head case. Some fights he shows aggression, some fights he doesn't. The Rosenstrike fight, he should have had all the ability in the world to take down Rosenstrike and finish him on the mat there, but he didn't. He, barely showed any initiative there. And it's just you never know what you're getting with Blaydes. Is he going to show aggression and try to get a finish, or is he going to just wrestle for a 3 or 5 round decision and show no incentive at all to get a finish? And I think it makes it hard to predict Blaydes fights based on his incentive being so variable in there. But I don't have faith in Daukaus to stop the takedowns here. Obviously, Daukaus is knockout or bust. He's not winning rounds. He's not going to submit him. So if you like Daukaus, have any faith in him, take the knockout against him, against the money line, plus 475 for the knockout. But then when it comes to Blaydes, there's a good question on will it be a decision or will it be a TKO from ground and pound? And I don't know. I'm leaning towards decision. I'm leaning towards the 4-5 decision. FanDuel has these props. Will fight end 1-2-3 or will it end 4-5 decision? I'm leaning for 4-5 decision. And my thinking is that if Rosenstrike can make it to the full 15 minutes, then Daukaus should be able to as well. But it also really depends on how much initiative Daukaus shows getting off his back. If Daukaus gets taken down and just lays in guard the full time and shows no ability to get back up, he might make it to the full 5 rounds. But if Daukaus gets taken down and wants to get up and win, and maybe gives himself up a vulnerable position, he might get finished. So I don't know, man. I don't have much of a read here. I'll go. My pick, or my betting opinion will be to go for the 4-5 decision on Blaydes. But like I said, who the hell knows? I don't have a real strong lean.
I fucking hate this fight. Every time they put
Yep.
these shitty heavyweight fights as a main event, what I try to do, maybe you guys could do your part too. I just avoid any like UFC video, like the weigh-in videos, any of the hype videos they put up. I don't watch them at all. I don't touch them because like you see Dana talking last week about like Patty. They're like, oh Patty, we put up his face-off video, whatever. It got 1.1 million. Aspinall and Volkov, it was like 140K. So yeah, his numbers say he could do a pay-per-view. So you know what, Dana, you tell me that shit, I'm just boycotting any shitty fights. I boycott it in terms of the YouTube views beforehand. I'm gonna watch the fight, but anyway, Blaydes, was it last year when he got knocked out by Derek Lewis? When was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last
February, I think.
last February. So yeah, Dawkins, Blaydes, right? He has those debilitating leg kicks, right? That everybody knows him for. Look, this fight is gonna come down to how aggressive and confident in his boxing is Chris Daukaus to go out there and just get shit going. Because if he's going in there in a defensive mind frame, right? It's like kind of how I forget what fighters mentioned this, but they're like, oh, or Leon Edwards talked about this like against Kamaru Usman. He was like, oh, like I was so worried about defending the wrestling. You know what defends the wrestling? Hitting Curtis Blaydes really fucking hard. That's what defends the wrestling because it makes the guy tentative. But it's not gonna work here. I think. I just feel the physical difference between these guys is really gonna shine through. Daukaus, bro, go to light heavyweight. Just finish. Just complete the journey and go down to light heavyweight because being at like 126 pounds and fighting Curtis Blaydes, that shit is not a recipe to win
220.
to whatever it is not a recipe to win these fights because this guy, once he gets on your legs, man, this guy he has high level finishes. From there, his chin is soft, but he got hit by Jorginho in his last fight, and there's no way that Daukaus hits like as hard as him, nor is he as accurate. And you see that he does not have the durability either. Once the guy really starts wailing away at him, right? Yeah, you look good when you're fighting fucking old ass Russians, right? That they're just built for fucking.
He beat Parker Porter, bro. Don't put some respect.
Yeah,
on his name.
Parker Porter's probably Russian too. That motherfucker. I wouldn't be surprised. I saw some pictures.
That's his most impressive performance.
I wouldn't be
honestly.
surprised at seeing pictures leak of that monster Parker Porter. Within Putin's detail. Parker Porter loves Putin, heart Putin. Triple P, triple P's.
Hell no.
This guy.
He's an American hero.
No, this guy is a defector. He would. I'm telling you, Parker Porter. He's all about the Benjamins, or the rubles. Which I hear Europe
are down.
I hear Europe. They better get those rubles in order, or they're gonna be fucking cold soon. Is what I hear on the geopolitical scale. I follow my boy Sean Orr into these Twitter spaces. These people are hilarious. The fact we got Joe Biden leading us when Putin's on the fucking.
I feel very confident.
Not good. You voted for that guy, you idiot. But anyway,
I feel very confident.
Yeah, you voted for him.
It was a plus EV pick.
Yeah, on campus maybe to get chicks. Fuck you, you fucking asshole. Anyway, so Chris Daukaus. I mean, this guy knows jiu-jitsu. This jiu-jitsu doesn't work, bro, against a guy 30 pounds heavier than you with a D1 background. So he's gonna have to win this fight with his fist. I don't think it's gonna happen. Curtis Blaydes, man, as much as we hate this guy, he's got to fight for a heavyweight title soon. Like he needs to get a heavyweight title shot soon, but I think we're gonna get a finish here. I do think that Curtis Blaydes will wear out. Daukaus does not do cardio, bro. He's a pig. So this guy, he does not run, bro. He does not run. He shoots first, then he runs. He runs after. So he shoots first, bro. So I don't think he's running. He's doing any cardio. But Curtis Blaydes, man, you can't trust this guy, bro. You can't trust him. So I'll pick him to win. I'm not, I'm not parlaying this guy. Like, I must be leaving money on the table maybe for these fights. Like,
Nah. This
this is what
shit
you were
is a
telling me.
terrible fight.
You say that, but then you fucking come with that dumbass stat earlier in the podcast. But anyway, yeah, I'll pick Curtis Blaydes. But yeah,
Well,
this fight
our
sucks.
main event ROIs, bro, in the gutter. I'm not trying to be betting, not trying to be betting this fun.
Me neither.
One thing I'll say too is Daukaus's confidence got to be pretty low after getting knocked out by Lewis too. It pre Lewis. I mean, if he came out just firing punches and getting in Blaydes' face right away, he might have a chance to win. But he
Why
also
would
might be a
he
little.
take this fight?
I don't understand that either.
You got
I
knocked
really want
out
to ask.
3 months ago, bro.
I really wanted to ask, like, what's going in your mind when you accept a fight where you're the 4-1 underdog against like an amazing wrestler? Like,
Dude, he
how the
got
hell?
knocked out brutally 12 weeks ago.
Cold,
Literally,
stiff,
like,
yeah,
basically 12 or 13 weeks ago. He was dead.
dead.
That's not
Yeah,
good.
that is true. And
Well, I'll leave
actually,
it there.
two Pennsylvania cops, got killed the other day on
Oh,
the side of the road
geez,
too.
yes,
So,
yes. Don't drink and
so,
drive, guys. And
yeah. See,
especially if the cops let you go, bro, park the whip. Park the whip,
you
bro.
saw that? This woman was tweeting about it the whole
That
time.
bitch is crazy.
Um,
I saw another tweet by her that
we're having
said,
some fun on this
another tweet
podcast.
by her said, my mom's so overprotective. Jesus Christ. I was like, oh my God.
It's time for our best bet parlay of the week. I haven't really thought about it all that much, but what are you going with as your best bet of the week?
Yeah, so I was looking at some, to get back on the prop side of things, just because I've been fumbling the bag a little bit. I mentioned that obviously my favorite underdog of the fight card is Max Griffin, right? Oh, excuse me, got a little bit of gas there. If I was to pick, I'm gonna say two picks right now, and I'm gonna deliberate. I'd either say Nicolau on the money line side, or if I was gonna pick a prop, and then I'm gonna bounce it back to you, and then I'm gonna pick which one I'm gonna do. I would do the goes the distance in the which fight was the? I'm gonna go with Nicolau. I feel like he's got matchup advantages, and I just feel like Dvorak, his approach works on fighters that are not that diverse. But when you have a fighter similar to Nicolau, I'm like, I saw the grappling that Bruno Silva was able to get going on him, and I'm just super high on Nicolau. I like Dvorak as well. This is a very good contender fight, but I'm going to take Nicolau plus 105. Still low value. I think he should be should be
I'll
a
join you on the
favorite.
plus money line things. I'll go my boy Mark Diakiese. We got Mark and Matt on the parlay plus 377 on FanDuel using the best lines available. So that's gonna do it. We asked.
Not bad. Not bad. I like that. I think Mark D. Casey's coming to fight. He got bitched out last time, but in that even against Alves early on,
He might be on a
he
2-fight
looked
losing
ready,
streak too,
But
right?
then
Is he Fiziev
uh,
and Alves, right?
I think so,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah,
That's a great
but
recipe.
DKC's legit, man. He's legit. He's a legit lightweight. So if Sava could beat him, that's a good feather in your cap. So I like that plus money side.
All right, so
And he's got double, like almost 3 times the fight. So I
that's
like that spot. But the way my luck's been going, that shit's
no,
gonna
we're
I'm
turning
gonna
the
get
fucking
knocked out.
tide on this fucking card. Columbus, Ohio is going to be good for us. We're back with Fight Nights in
See, boss.
America. We're gonna have that
Queen
American Fight
City
Night crowd first time since Figgy versus Joe B won way back in February 2020. Yep.
in Virginia.
But
Joe
we had some
Biden's
fun
house.
on this podcast. He's from Delaware.
Casa de
We had some
Biden.
fun on this podcast. Lot of fun
Delaware is not a
fights.
real
A
state.
lot of good matchups. Hopefully, we'll have a profitable week. I'm thinking we're getting back on track this week. I'm thinking we're good.
I hope Arizona starts
That's
it off
true.
this week, bro. I'm
The
hoping.
podcast won't be out in time, but Villanova and Duke are going to be
Wildcats.
winning. Um, all right, this
Wildcats.
is going on long enough. Good podcast, fun card. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you to everyone who's been listening, supporting, and we'll see you all before the next UFC event next week. Peace out, everyone.